All right, bear with me a little bit. We are live. I say we. I'm live. So I'm doing everything. This is a live radio show. I know we're on Twitch and also on YouTube, but we are also a live radio show. So I have to make sure that I do all the other stuff too while I'm doing the show itself. So anyway, bear with me for a second. And we will get this show on the road or in the studio or, whatever. Welcome into the Upstate Pulse. My name is Lonzo. It is a beautiful, beautiful Saturday outside right now in the upstate of South Carolina. And we got a good show for you. I keep saying we. All right. So, first time I said we, I will say we very often because it usually is a we. But today, for the first time ever, for the first time ever in the history of this program, it is just me. So please bear with me. Can't take phone calls. I will try to get to as many texts as I possibly can. And of course, the Facebook pages. We are live on 1063 WORD, Upstate Pulse, my personal Facebook page. We're also live on YouTube, the Upstate Pulse YouTube page, and the Upstate Pulse Twitch page. So we are live at all of those positions. There will be moments when you might say, why are you hesitating? Well, because like I said, I am doing everything. And why am I doing everything? Well, it's like it's not a comedy of errors. It's just a lot of things happened at one time, including the fact that someone requested off, someone is unavailable, there's a misunderstanding with someone else, and then someone was sick. So there we go. That covers everything. So I went from having a full room 2 weeks ago, a partially full room last week, to a single room, it's not, the room's not single. I'm single in the room. So I'm here by myself. And I would tell you that there was a time where the biggest fear of my entire life was being by myself in studio. But I'm not nervous. I'm a little bit excited, but I'm here by myself. So anyway, text line is 71307. Already got a text saying, hey guys, shout out to Kid Flaccid. Yeah, shout out to Kid Flaccid. Wish Kid Flaccid was here right now, but he is not. Here is what we do on this program. We talk all things pop culture, including video games. We talk movies. We talk the latest thing streaming, a bunch of weird stories. We just have a good time. We don't talk politics on this program. You get plenty of that during the week with our award-winning programming starting at 6 a.m., 6 to 10 with Tara, 10 to noon with Vince, 3 to 7 with Charlie James. And by the way, we don't mention this enough, but this is the number one radio station in all of the state of South Carolina, according to the South Carolina Broadcasters Association. We also have various winners of awards on the station, including me. So if you want politics, if that is your game, if that's all you're into, you get plenty of that during the week. You're not going to get that for the next 2 hours. But what you're going to get is we are going to have fun. And like I said, if you want to be a part of the show, please participate so that I can see your comments, all that kind of stuff, and can have some fun with it. All right, including my wife says you got this. So it's good to have some confidence, have some backing, if you will. Also, where is everyone, says Steven. Are they at the movies watching Maverick? No, they are not. I will tell you that show contributor Cameron is at home sick. He really wanted to be here, but for the first time ever, he is called in sick, and I am docking his pay. You know, I will not tolerate things like you play hurt. You be here when you're required to be. Cameron doesn't get paid. He is my son. He helps me out when I need help. This is the first time he hasn't been available due to sickness. So, what can you do? You soldier on. Man, the text line's going crazy. And like I said, give me a moment. Let me tell you what we're going to be talking about today on the show. The poster is going to be up to be voted on. Even more so, I will throw that up there here in a second so you can see uh, the three different posters. And the one that is picked, we're going to do this for a couple weeks, and then we will pick the winner, and that will be the one that will be made into a poster, which is really cool. We're also going to there's a couple things that I have on my outline that we're not going to be able to get to. I'm going to wait for the Halo finale, even though it's been a couple weeks, so I want to talk to Cameron about that. I will be talking Star Wars Celebration. I will be giving a Top Gun review. Here's the thing, though. So since I am here by myself, do I go spoiler free, or do I really spoil the movie? Because the movie just came out. Also, a bunch of episodes of Stranger Things season 4 just dropped, and I only watched one episode because we're going to talk about binging. Obi Wan dropped 2 episodes. Watched both of those. We will talk about that. Let's see. We've got an oops. We have a signs of an impending apocalypse. We're going to talk some video games, and in the second hour, we are going to break down AEW Double or Nothing. So we have a lot of things to talk about. Steven on the Facebook page on the stream says, spoil. I might do it. I might. Because there's a lot of things I want to talk about, especially the fact that they copied a movie. They absolutely copied a movie without a doubt. They did. And so I want to, not that it's a bad thing. It's not a bad movie to copy. The movie that they did copy, it is a good movie. And it's a great movie, an iconic movie that they kind of copied. All right. If you are on the Facebook page, 1063 WRD or the Upstate Pulse, I am going to put up the poster so you can see it, or posters. All right. So there we have the 3 posters. Please go to the Facebook page and vote which one you think should be our new poster. It's real easy. You just say 1, 2, or 3. It's not real complicated. You have to type 1, 2, or 3, but type 1, 2, or 3. I am not going to let everyone know what the one that I'm leaning towards. I will tell you they're all really good. My cousin Keith Newsom drew them for me, and we're still waiting on a couple other things to finalize them, including picking the one that we're going to have posters made for. Might even, I'm really thinking t-shirts, because they look really cool, and t-shirts would be awesome. So we're probably considering doing that also. So I will put these up throughout the program so that you can see them, so that you can vote on them, and let us know which one you think should be the poster. I am also told that the poster will hang in Borderlands Comics and Games, and we will take it whenever we go live, which we do on occasion. We get to go out on location. All right. Steven says 3 because it looks more like Pappy. Okay. Yes, that is what Pappy looks like when he's happy. Pappy is actually in the background. You just can't see him. His shadow looms over all things. It does. That's why it's his revenge. He's the catalyst. He's the one who caused all the war that's going on inside the posters. And I just want to point out, can you find the mime? There's a mime in there. Actually is a mime in there. So check that out and see if you can find the mime, because, we had to put a mime in there, as well as some other really cool things. My cousin, he always puts some hidden things in there. Let's see. All right. So that is the poster. Let me see if I can get this back to the regular screen. There we go. So I was looking through something, and as I was doing my show prep, and I saw something that I cannot believe. I cannot believe this. I'll blame it on bad parenting. And you tell me if you think that's the reason why. Okay. According to a study, despite being one of the most influential bands in music history, a new study has found that younger people have no clue who the Beatles are. All right. Here's when I sound like old guy. because I'm older guy, but I'm not old. Even though I act like I'm old, I'm not old yet. You're not old till you're 75. And when you're 75, if you don't act old, you're still not old. So it is just a number. But according to a study, Gen Z kids do not know who the Beatles are. The study showed 1/3 of Gen Z, which is people born between the year of 1997 and 2021, ages 25 and younger, are unfamiliar with the Beatles. So that it's out there. People don't know who the Beatles are. Here's the other thing. The report also says that 2/3 are also unfamiliar with Aretha Franklin. All right, so maybe you ain't got no soul, but how could you not know the Queen, Aretha Franklin? I don't get that either. Also, more than half of the generation didn't know U2 or the Supremes. Or they get the Supremes. I get that because that's that's a little bit older. Not as old as the Beatles, but still a little bit older. Also, Pink Floyd, David Bowie, and Prince all hovered around the 50% mark. All right, see, that's the other thing. They don't know who Prince is. How is this a possibility? How can you not know who Prince is? Um, the demographics for this show range anywhere from like 12 to like 90. So there are a ton of people that all over the age group that listen to this program, which is really cool. And I'm curious, do you share not only the music that is your favorite with your children, do you also share um, some of the bands that are considered or the artists that are the biggest artists in the history of mankind or in the history of rock and roll, at least? Do you share those with your kids? I did that. There were times when we would just play music and me and my children would just get up and dance. Just goofy. It's kind of like, the scene from the Peanuts from Charlie Brown when they just get up and they do that happy dance where it doesn't matter if you got rhythm or it doesn't matter any of that stuff. You just get up and you just dance. Well, we used to do that all the time. And I shared as much music as I could with them. The other cool thing about it is anytime a line would be mentioned or something, or if I would mention a line, because I think most people, especially people who are into pop culture or in the movies, things like that, will just throw something out there, a lyric or something. Whenever I would do that and my kids would say, "What is that?" I would make them look up the song and listen to it. And sometimes they liked it, sometimes they didn't. Also, there are video games, Rock Band, Guitar Hero, games like Sing Star, I think it was. There are games like that that you can listen to a bunch of different kinds of songs. There was even a Beatles rock band which we got, and the kids played that all the time. So, do you share your music with your children, and are you disappointed if they don't like it? All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got a ton of things to get to, including, yes, I am going to review Top Gun Maverick. And I am being convinced, at least by one person, to go ahead and spoil. We'll see what we're going to do when we come back from break. You are listening to the Upstate Pulse. Lonzo flying solo here, right here on 106.3 WORD, continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse Facebook pages. Also on the Upstate Pulse YouTube page and Twitch page. All right, so not as much interaction during the show during the breaks, because I have to look at stuff and see what I can do. That's a good question, Chris. They are requested off, sick, or unavailable. Could definitely use their help right now, but what can you do?
you shopping for a new home? With a zero closing cost mortgage from Cap Center, you could save thousands of dollars compared to other lenders.
This is my third time using Cap Center. It's always a completely painless experience. I can't understand why anyone would use another company to pay closing costs.
Cap your home buying costs. Visit capcenter.com. Equal housing lender. Visit capcenter.com for rates, savings, and limitations. Client feedback. Close by actors. NMLS ID 67717.
Yeah, I'm trying to take care of that, but again, I'm by myself. So, that's really why I'm not talking. Is I'm trying to fix that. Well, I don't know how. There we go. I do believe I got it. Wow, this is interesting.
Cases are dismissed based on clerical errors. Like no standing, no evidence has been presented. But yet you're a liar with a bunch of morons listening to you. I pray every day you get taken off the air. This is what I'm talking about. This borders on, and I don't hesitate to say this at all, this borders on mental illness, the obsession, because I think it begins with Donald Trump and his obsession to win. I'm not saying winning is a bad thing, but I'm saying so many people are so emotionally.
All right, at the risk of losing some people, I think I will actually do review Top Gun, completely, as in with spoilers. I think I will do that just because I, need to. So if you see me just suddenly drenched with sweat, it's because stuff. So Tim requested off. Owen is unavailable, and Cameron is sick. For those of you who are asking. But that's how it goes. It's exactly how it goes. And I will get to the text line. Text line is 71307. There are a couple texts to get to.
It's the Upstate Pulse on
Welcome back into the Upstate Pulse. Lonzo here, flying solo on a Saturday night. Having some fun. Text line 71307. By the way, you can send us a message on Facebook where the guys and girls are already gathering, and we are chatting back and forth, not only during the breaks, but while we are live on the air. Facebook page is 1063 WORD or the Upstate Pulse. Or if you're watching on YouTube, if you say something on the YouTube thing, they say that it will show up on here. I've seen it happen a couple times. I don't know about Twitch. Twitch, we just started last week, and it's going to take a little while to get some attention on Twitch, but that's fine. That's what all the kids are doing. So, got to try it. And no one else in the building, as far as I know, is doing Twitch, so I had to do it first, just because that's what I do. All right, so text line 71307. Texter says, what do you think about the new Obi Wan? Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. I watched both episodes. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Also, Scott says, evening, guys. I like to download your podcast into my phone and play it in my car the next day whenever I can listen to the show I do live. However, the podcast hasn't been available on the WRD website the past 3 weeks. just wanted to alert you to possible technical issues. Okay, I'm pretty sure I know why that's happening, and I will take care of it. I will address it. I will tell you at least tonight's will be available, and I'll see what I can do about getting some past ones on there. So what happened was first they took the page down, then they gave the page back. So the instructions are to put them on two different pages to make sure that they show up. And someone was running the show the last couple of weeks who I didn't tell that. So it's my fault, or I'll just blame Tim. It's Tim's fault for not telling him to do that. So we could do either way. Doesn't matter. All right. So Thursday night, my wife and I had a date night. We went out to see Top Gun Maverick. Now, me being a teen, I will tell you, I graduated in 1986. The movie came out in 1985. And so when I was in college, first year in college, walking down the hallway, there were two soundtracks playing. You're either hearing Top Gun playing or you're hearing Beastie Boys' License to Ill. Both of them really good cassettes, because that's what they were back in the day, because yes, it was 1986. But a ton of the guys at my college were there in the officer program for the Navy. And the reason why is because they saw the original Top Gun and they decided they wanted to join the Navy. A couple of those guys actually ended up doing it, but a lot of them did not. But the movie was that big of a deal at the time where people were just running out and enlisting. You know, it was a good recruiting tool for the Navy. It isn't why they did it, but of course, in cooperation with them, they allowed the use of their jets and all that kind of stuff. So nearly 40 years later, and a couple years after it was supposed to come out, due to COVID, they didn't release it yet because they knew that they were going to get a lot of people to come to the theater to see it. And they were right. So still, at least in this area, but I think in a lot of areas, movies, blockbuster type movies come out on a Thursday night, and people just don't realize that. At least some people don't. And so we were there Thursday night in IMAX, because this is the kind of movie you go to see in IMAX. You know, practical effects, as far as I know, I'm not sure they use very much, if any, CGI at all. So these guys were actually in the planes doing all the tricks, all the stunts that they did, and it was amazing. I was a little concerned because I get a little bit of vertigo, especially in the mountains or even in some video games if it's really high up. So I was a little concerned I might have a problem with that, but I did not. There are a couple times that I was on the edge of it and somehow I stopped it. I don't know. Power of positive thinking. But the movie itself, all right, I'm going to spoil some just because, you know, I'm by myself and I want to. I do, because I'm not sure. I looked at the demographics when we walked into the IMAX, which was nearly sold out. There were even some people down. There's like 3 to 4 rows in the front of the IMAX, if you've been to the one in Simpsonville, where those things are rarely full unless it's a big time movie. Something like Black Panther or something like Avengers or something like that will get people down there. I don't know how you do it. I mean, because you're putting your head on the back of the seat and looking straight up. That's not me, because I wouldn't be able to walk afterwards. And I think you miss a lot when you do that. But there were people who were actually down there because they really wanted to see this movie. And I was surprised that there were some younger people there that were there without their families. So this was strictly a effects thing, strictly. Maybe Tom Cruise was the appeal. I don't know, but they were there and the place was full. So this is set like 40 years, nearly 40 years after the original Top Gun. If you've seen the trailer, you know that Pete Mitchell, the character that Tom Cruise is playing, is still a captain. And because he keeps getting in trouble. And that was the whole premise of the first movie, is he kept getting in trouble. The only reason why he got the Top Gun was because someone ahead of him had a mental breakdown. And that's the only reason why he was able to go to Top Gun in the first place. And if you haven't seen the first one, I think you will have a little bit of problem connecting with this one, because a lot of this has to do with Goose. It absolutely does. A lot of it has to do with Goose. and the death of Goose. So if you didn't watch the first one and you hear me talking about it, you're not being spoiled because you're not going to watch the second one because it doesn't have that appeal for you. But so Goose died. It wasn't Maverick's fault, but he died, and he spent a lot of time chasing ghosts. And you think at the end of the first one that he had come to grips with it, but apparently he had not. It had stuck with him for decades. And so nearly, I think it's like 36 years later or something like that, Goose's son, whose call sign is Rooster, also got into the Top Gun program, but it turns out that that Maverick had pulled his papers because he was asked to, trying to keep him from becoming a pilot, and so he has resentment towards him. So anyway, there's a mission that that they bring Maverick in for, and the only reason why he's still around, period, is because of his good friend, the Iceman, who is now a big time general, which is really, really cool. Val Kilmer actually comes back to play the part. And from everything I've read, Tom Cruise said he wouldn't do the movie without Val Kilmer in it. And it's necessary. It is very necessary for Val Kilmer to be in this movie because it helps to move it. Every time that that Maverick is in trouble, Ice gets him out of that trouble, which is really, really we all need that kind of friend, or maybe we don't, because then I guess you don't learn if you got a buddy who gets you out of everything. So he has to train them for a mission. Here's the problem, the one problem that I have with the movie. It's Star Wars, man. It's Star Wars. It's the exact same thing. They have to do a mission, a nearly impossible mission. They have to put missiles inside of, I forget what they said, like a 5-meter box, whatever a meter is. And so the way they do the stunts and everything, really, really cool. Admiral, thank you, Chris. John Hamm's character is a punk, but he does it so well. Really, really good. I forget the name of the actor who's with Tom Cruise during the entire movie. He's a heavier black dude who's with him wherever he's at. He is awesome. But this is Star Wars. It is. And it's not a criticism. I guess it is a little bit. It's like they copied the plot from Star Wars and made it a practical thing, put it on Earth, where, if you had to do Star Wars on Earth, you would use planes. If you had to make shots, you would use laser guidance systems. There's so many things that they use in this. And by the way, them using Star Wars, it's still awesome. It still is, because they still have to make the shots. They still have to do things. They have to fly in gravity that causes people to pass out. And from what I understand, some of the actors actually did pass out. Buddy Stoneman down the hall has been up in those kind of planes a couple of times, tried to get me to go up. And of course, we know I don't fly, so I'm not going to do that. So yes. Also, the other thing is you can enjoy a movie about planes even though you don't fly in them. So that's okay. All right. I'm not going to give any more away from the plot. Do they succeed? Do they fail? I don't know. Well, yeah, I do know. But if you haven't seen it, you don't know. So even with the plot, the banter is the same from the first one. It's not a direct copy. There are things that are similar. There are Maverick sees ghosts. He sees ghosts everywhere. And in order to see ghosts, people act like the people that you remember. The young kids act like them. And they did it really good. This was a really good movie. It really was. I don't know if it's the best movie I've seen this year, but it might be. So if you're considering going to see it, you should. You absolutely should. You will have a blast. You have a great time. It is a really good movie. I give it a 5 out of 5. The only flaw I have is they copied Star Wars. And is that really a flaw? It's not, because it's Star Wars. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk Obi Wan and Stranger Things. You're listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD. Continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse Facebook pages, as well as the Upstate Pulse YouTube and Twitter page. Chris, got to be honest with you, dude. Not going to do a Bob's Burger review because I have never in my entire life watched Bob's Burgers. Sorry. I hope you're being sarcastic, but yeah, I've never seen Bob's Burgers. All right, grab the right mouse, right? So.
Sign up for 1063 WORD's daily download at 1063WORD.com.
And daily classified intelligence briefings produced just for you.
Highly informed 1063 WORD listeners.
Top item shooting sent to your inbox. The world is rapidly changing everywhere. Daily download from 1063 WORD. Buckle up.
Anyone worried about me being nervous, don't be worried because I'm too busy to be nervous. I'm not going to have a voice when I'm done, but, you know, there's that. What I feel like my strong suit is playing off of others, which I can't do when there ain't nobody else here to play off of. Who knows? Maybe LexCorp looks and goes, okay, you're right. You don't need to be in there by yourself. But no one's been taken away from me. They just were unavailable today. It's unfortunate. And I'm almost through the first hour. I'm good. So we'll see what we do in the future when we have this sort of problem. And I have music to fall back on if I need to, because we have done some wonderful parody songs through the year, as well as some Roger rewinds and things like that. But I got too much stuff to talk about to move to go to that. And even by myself, I'm still not hitting my brakes on time. So there's that. By the way, Chris, not LexCorp's fault. When someone requests off, I like to, I try my best to give them the time off. And then when someone's unavailable, and like I said, Cameron's not feeling well. If he felt good enough at all, he would be here. But he's got a headache and other stuff I don't want to disclose. I'm not worried about HIPAA because he doesn't work here, but, you know.
This is why the Canadians went bonkers this week. The province of Alberta is run by very conservative Canadians, very like-minded to us. And they sent the leader of one of the provinces, Alberta, down here to say, listen, we have a ton of oil. We can sell it to you. You don't need to buy it.
I think the worst part about doing things by yourself, because this is like I haven't been in here by myself before. Usually someone will jump on StreamYard with me. It's cleanup. I hate cleanup. It's like doing yard work. I hate doing cleanup after yard work. I'd like at least on Saturday when I'm host to be able to just get up and go home, which I've been able to do for a few weeks now. So it makes me appreciate it more. Not that I didn't already, but I do even more so now. Texter, if you are listening on stream, we definitely will be addressing that because that's a good point. Chris, Rob had plans also. Rob's a stand-up dude. If at all he could have jumped in, he would have. But he is at a family cookout, I believe.
It's the Upstate Pulse on 1063 WORD.
Welcome back into the Upstate Pulse. Lonzo here on a beautiful Saturday night, flying completely solo. Well, I'm not solo. I got the peeps on the stream. I got the peeps on the text line, which is 71307. By the way, if you want to send us a text, we're gonna get to a couple of texts in just a moment. Also, if you want to drop a line, whatever it's called, I don't know, I'm old, on Facebook, 1063 WORD or Upstate Pulse, just participate like everybody else is doing. We've already had a Russian bot. which is awesome. And I learned how to block on the fly, which is good. Sounds like when I actually played football, I had to learn how to block on the fly because I didn't actually memorize the plays like I should have done. But, we wing things. That's what we do. All right, text line 71307. Texter says, Lonzo, the only criticism I had of Obi Wan was, and this is going to be a spoiler. So if you haven't watched either episode, this is going to be a spoiler as I complete the rest of this text. Lonzo, the only criticism I had of Obi Wan was the foot chase scene with Princess Leia. The choreography was off. I completely agree. All right, so the big surprise of Obi Wan was the fact that Princess Leia is on there, and they never put anything out there. We knew we were going to see a young Luke. Didn't even think about Princess Leia until Alderaan, and then it's like, man, that plan is going to get blown up. And you just can't help but looking at, I think they make it extra beautiful and all these things, knowing that the Death Star is going to blow that thing up. Texter also says, Lonzo, my kid didn't really like young Princess Leia. I explained that's exactly how I picture her as a child. Yeah, me too. You don't just suddenly become, I guess it happens. Sometimes tragedy, sometimes puberty, sometimes other things will happen and change you into a different person. But for the most part, I think as you get older, the core of who you are was formed when you were a kid. And my only problem with it is she's supposed to be 10. I don't think she's 10. She looks like she's like 8 or something like that, but she might be 10. She has to be short because Carrie Fisher was short. So they have to do that way. The show itself, really, really good. So when it comes down to it, the fact that Obi Wan, and I saw some complaints about this, about why isn't he doing anything? Why isn't he using the Force? Well, this has been done on other shows. He had to shut himself off from the Force because when through the Force, Darth Vader and other Force users could possibly know where he was, could pinpoint where he was, could at least know that he was still around. Obviously, they know he's alive, or they believed he was alive. Hence, I believe the third sister trying to find him. And the first thing I saw, I was like, man, that's Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And Cameron's like, are you sure? I was like, dude, that is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So way to go, Flea. You made it into Star Wars. For however long that lasted, you made it into Star Wars. So that was also cool. Who knows what other kind of cameos we're going to get from characters or from people just wanting to be in it. But I think as far as Obi-Wan goes, the first 2 episodes, it's kind of exactly what I thought. Yoda gave him the mission to go and watch over Luke. And while he's there, try to commune with his former master, which would be Qui-Gon Jinn, which he is struggling with. And the reason why he's struggling with is because he's clouded by emotion because he believes he killed Anakin. He believes Anakin is dead. And then he finds out that he's not. And he has to make some decisions to go and save Leia. And you never really think about that. But he's really kind of one of 2 people, I think, 2 or 3 people that actually knew that Leia existed and where she was. So there's no way the third sister survives. There's no way that she connected Leia with Anakin, but the fact that she's technically working for Anakin. And I've also saw some complaints because I think it is from Rebels or something, where the first Inquisitor, how he dies there. Don't think he's dead. Just because he took a lightsaber through the gut doesn't mean he's dead. I still think that he's probably still alive. But overall, I really like it. And I get the chase scene. The problem is, as a texter was saying, the foot chase scene, the kid can't run. I mean, they had to pick an actor or actress, however you want to say it, who could handle the lines and everything. And I think she does it well. There's a little bit of Padme in there. There's a little bit of Leia in there, but she can't run. So how do you do a chase scene with someone who can't run? And it's not that, she's short because she's a little kid, but I don't think she knows how to run. And there are kids that you can try to teach how to run, and they just can't run. That's just that's unfortunate. Texter says, "Hey, Alonzo, don't feel alone. We're out here hanging with you, doing a great job." Thank you. I appreciate it. And one of the reasons why I was not nervous having to do this solo is because I knew I would have you guys on text and on the Messenger, Facebook, and social media to help me out. And I really do appreciate that. I do. So Obi Wan, what do you guys think? Text line 71307, Facebook 1063 WORD, Upstate Pulse. What did you think of the first 2 episodes? Did you like them? Are you excited for the rest? Are you disappointed? Are you disappointed that all of the episodes didn't drop at once? Because that's what happened with Stranger Things. All the episodes dropped at once. And I only watched 1 episode because I don't like the binge. I really don't. I like the idea of waiting at least a day or 2 and sometimes even a week because it builds anticipation for what you're wanting to see. And in this day and age, I don't know. How do you guys feel? 1063 WORD, Upstate Pulse, Facebook page. Do you like the binge? When all episodes are available, do you just sit down and do you set aside an entire, 6-7 hours and go, I'm just watching this whole thing? I have a meal in between, or as I'm watching the whole thing. Do you do that? I mean, I guess I would like to do that in some cases, but at the same time, I wouldn't. Let's see. Texter says, "Hey, I agree with the last texter, and I very much appreciate your reviews." Thank you. Thank you. There are a lot of people who listen to the show are wired kind of the same way I am, which is kind of weird. But that's okay. You know that. And so do I. But we like the same kind of movies, same kind of games, same kind of things like that. And that's why you listen to this program. And we really, really appreciate it. All right. I got one more break to take this hour. When we come back, I'm going to talk some Stranger Things and some other stuff. If you want to be a part of the show, text line 71307, live on Facebook 1063 WORD or the Upstate Pulse. We are also live on YouTube and on Twitch. This is the Upstate Pulse. Thank you, Chris. And yes, on the screen that you can't see, I've got Aquaman playing. And I'm just looking to see if I see any tension. Was there really any tension? I don't know. Supposedly there's no chemistry, but it doesn't really come through on the screen. Maybe it changed for Aquaman too. I guess we'll find out. We haven't really talked about the trial because, I mean, admittedly, I've watched bits and pieces of it and found some of it entertaining and sad. Mostly sad. I don't think, as people are petitioning, I don't think they can go back and replace Amber Heard in every scene of Aquaman 2. Maybe they can, though. I don't know.
Shows who's in charge, provides positive motivation for compliance. COVID-19 side, demonstrate omnipotence, shut down entire economies across the world, create money out of nowhere, force dependency, develop total surveillance with nanochips and 5G. Oh, that sounds interesting. Anybody getting a correlation?
This, Chris, is Brian from Breakfast Club, Anthony Michael Hall, asking if you could describe the ruckus, which is my favorite line from the movie. And by the way, there it is again, the posters. Like I said, I am partial to one of them. And we are tallying the votes, trying to see which one will win. They're all good. I mean, it's really cool. There's I love Tim and all three of them. And I also love, yeah, you should love it, Keith, because you did them and you did an amazing job. So, but I'm probably going to tally the votes for a month before we make the final decision. I don't know. I'm trying to figure if it's hot in here or if I'm, you know.
Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally,
There it is. There's where I was. Okay.
Will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-417-5101. That's 800-417-5101. What do you have to lose?
All right. When we come back here in just a moment, we are going to talk Stranger Things. We're also going to talk about a bear story because, you know, I am curious about what you guys would do if this happened to you.
What's your one thing?
Wonderful celebration. Cheese for everyone. Wait, scratch that. Cheese for no one. That can be just as much of a celebration if you don't like cheese, true? No cheese for you yet. Oh, well, maybe. It's the Upstate Pulse on 106.3 WORD.
Welcome back into the Upstate Pulse, final segment of the first hour. Having a blast on a Saturday night. It's nice and cool out there. I saw you guys out there while I was on my way into work. It's like everybody's having a good time. Thank you for taking us along with you while you're on your way to wherever you're going, on your way back from wherever you went, or if you're going from there to there and then, you know, wherever. We'll still be here. You get in a car, helping you along on your way. Hoping you're having a good time. Hoping you're enjoying the Upstate Pulse. If you want to be a part of the show, we are live on Facebook, 106.3 WORD, or the Upstate Pulse. You can hit us up there. Or on the text line, 71307. I had asked, do you binge? Do you like to binge watch these shows when they come out? Because Obi Wan dropped 2 episodes. Did watch both of those. But Stranger Things dropped, I think, like 6 or 7 episodes, the first half of their season, and we only watched 1 episode. Now, Stranger Things a little heavier as far as content goes, and maybe you can only handle so much at one time. And some of the episodes are going to be like movie length, which I cannot wait to see those. Texter writes, unfortunately, I did that with Reacher and Yellowstone. Binge watch, that is. And I think Yellowstone is pretty long, too. So, don't you get to a point, don't you worry about if you're like in your 4th or 5th hour of binge watching that you're like missing things? I'd rather have a fresh perspective a little bit. It's all right. I think it's okay to watch a couple episodes, but beyond 2, I think that may be too much. Texter writes, Lonzo, I haven't been to a movie theater in over 10 years, but I'm going to see the Top Gun sequel this week. As Jim and Easley. You won't be sorry you did, at least not from what's on the screen. What's on the screen is really, really good. Like I said, 5 out of 5 for me for Top Gun. And yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia involved because of where the original was in my life, coming out right as I graduated from high school and into college the next year. So it was right there with me the entire time. And I really, really loved the sequel. All right, Stranger Things, speaking of sequels, comes out, and I'm starting to lose a little bit of the nostalgia for Stranger Things. I love the content and for the most part and what they're doing with it and the period of time, but I think they're losing a little bit of it. I caught myself going, okay, did we really dress like that? Other years I could see it for sure. Like, yeah, people did dress like that, especially last season with Billy and his hair and all that kind of stuff. Although the first episode, we only watched the first episode, dealt with something that I had to deal with when I was a teenager. And that's when the stories came out that Dungeons and Dragons were a gateway to demons and all that kind of stuff. I remember someone having that conversation with me and keeping me from playing. And I have since played, and I don't believe I believe anything can be a gateway to something if you allow it. But using your imagination, not a gateway, not a gateway at all. But the fact that they were talking about actual things that I was told back at that time, that didn't bring back good memories. That brought back bad memories because I'd be really good at Dungeons and Dragons now if I had started back then. And I've only got to play a little bit, and I'm okay at it. I could be better. The rest of Stranger Things, I really like the fact that Winona Ryder is selling encyclopedias. For some reason, I thought that was great. I just thought that was great as someone who has a set of encyclopedias at home, and as someone who knew some people who sold encyclopedias. I just doing those cold call sales of encyclopedias. Wouldn't you love to have to do that? Wouldn't that be an amazing thing? I also Vecna looks pretty wicked. And I'm going to point this out now, and I pointed this out weeks before. Vecna is Barb. You cannot convince me otherwise. The big reveal at the end of the season, when this is all over, you're going to find out that Vecna is actually Barb, and Barb's going to get her revenge. That's who it is, okay? Vecna is Barb. When it happens, you're going to say, Lonzo said that, and I didn't believe him, and now it's happened. I can't believe they actually did that. Vecna is Barb. I've seen some interviews with the actors, and they're talking about the big reveal of Vecna, and they're acting like it's a big deal, and they never say male or female. Now you can get into all that pronoun thing, but I don't think that's it. I think they don't want to give away the fact that Vecna is Barb. Now, when you watch Stranger Things, maybe you're further on. Maybe you've watched all the episodes, and maybe it's been revealed who Vecna is really is. But I'm just going to go with it till someone corrects me. I'm going to go with Vecna as Barb. All right, we got time to squeeze in another story before we get to hour number 2. Let's go to Wisconsin. A Wisconsin couple managed to defend themselves from a bear attack inside their own home. Okay, here's what they did. The couple says they spotted the bear eating from a bird feeder around 11 p.m. Friday night. When they shouted at it to go away, the bear charged through a window and began to attack them. So, first thing, you see a bear outside and you yell at the bear. Here's what you do. You watch the bear. You don't say anything to the bear. Whatever the bears, are you protecting your birds? Is that what you're doing? At 11 o'clock at night, the birds ain't out. Why are you yelling at the bear? That's just, you don't yell at bears. You don't do that. That's crazy. You don't yell at the bear. The husband and wife stabbed the bear with a kitchen knife and eventually were able to grab a gun and shoot it. Both suffered bites and other injuries and were treated at the hospital. Their children were asleep in their bedroom at the time and were unharmed. First of all, those kids are good sleepers, or it's a really big house. Because if my mom and dad are downstairs being attacked by a bear, I'm guessing the bear makes noise. I'm guessing they're screaming the whole time they're stabbing the bear with their steely knives. It's a bear. Leave the bear alone. Don't yell at the bear. The bear may come in your house and try to hurt you. It's a valuable lesson. There are a bear around here. If I see a bear, first of all, I'm going to try to find someplace safe, but I'm not going to yell at the bear. The bear can pretty much do whatever it wants. You listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD. In the next hour, we are going to do an oops. We've got a signs of the impending apocalypse. We'll talk some video games. We're going to break down AEW Double or Nothing and a ton of other things, including the return of one of my favorite movies of all time, the one that I think started it all, Willow. The series trailer is out. I want to talk about that. Hopefully you guys have seen it. Listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD, continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse Facebook pages and YouTube and Twitter pages. All right, I made it through hour 1, and I still have a voice left. I don't know, Chris, you might have had to shoot it if it was like, chewing on your leg or something. But yeah. Trey, addressed this earlier. The one requested off, one is unavailable, and one is sick. Chair is undecided. Chair's kind of quiet. It's an old trick, Keith. Something that they do in the political realm. I've seen this happen a couple of times, and I haven't done this because I'm not desperate enough to ask Chair a question, but I will if you want me to. Because now you say Chair, now I think the tick. I forget what the guy's exact name was, but his head was a chair. But anyway, at debates and stuff, if a politician doesn't show up, a lot of times they'll put an empty chair up there, and they'll ask the chair a question, which is dogging the politician that didn't show up. Chairface Chippendale, thank you. I never even thought about that for a long time until now. Chris, love to have Angry Zach back, but he doesn't live in the area anymore. He lives down south, and he usually works on Saturday nights. And there was a mix-up. I thought somebody was going to be here, but I wasn't positive. So that's why at the last second, I changed the name to Chair. It did have a name in it, but now it does not because that person didn't come. So not their fault. It's my fault for not confirming. I'm going to put that up there, Chris, just for a second. So in case Zach is watching, he can see it and realize that he has missed, even though he hasn't been here in like 4 years or something like that. Well, he has been on a couple times.
FoxNewsPodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts. A government watchdog says ICE is not ensuring that migrants are being tested for COVID before taking them into the U.S. The Inspector General for the Department of Homeland Security says it has identified numerous.
And by the way, I do believe that
failed to test migrants for COVID-19.
That Cameron and T2 will be back next week. So.
Testing immigrants detained crossing the border are unclear, and there are no
or Keith, one of my favorites, leave him alone. He's jolly. Something never said about Pappy Claus, by the way.
Police in Missouri investigating a possible hate crime.
There's anger in southwest Missouri after a swastika was found painted on the outside of Springfield's oldest historically black church. It was founded in 1847.
Yes, now Justice League is playing on the screen to my right. Just cuss.
Following the Buffalo, New York racially motivated mass shooting, police have not identified a suspect and are asking any witnesses to come forward. Tom Graham, Fox News.
Police in Phoenix, Arizona find an illegal horde of more than 30.
But unfortunately, they're playing the first Justice League film, not the extended, which was so much better.
KSAZ Fox Phoenix's Justin Love reports.
This was the suspect's main hustle, buying and selling used catalytic converters. This suspect had a large inventory of them. A massive pile of catalytic converters. Phoenix police
Bad, mad, whatever works. You know.
The suspect now identified as 48-year-old Shelton Ford.
Now I'm going to have to go home and watch Tick episodes. What streaming service is Tick on now?
1,000% spike in reporting catalytic converter thefts. I'm Joe Chino, Fox News.
Hey, Upstate, this is the great one, Mark Levin. There's a new system coming to big cities.
Yeah, I remember to turn the news off so I don't have to noob myself.
Red House. Amid this incredible assault on basic freedoms, McConnell and company hatched a plan. He would tell the New York Times to announce the Republican impeachment of President Trump.
Trying to think what the next big movie comes out is.
Still alive and well. In fact, the likes of Cheney and McConnell cannot abide. And I want to remind you yet again, the Republican establishment fought to defeat the Tea Party 10 years ago. Now, Joe Biden is on TV, covered by every network live, unlike Donald Trump, talking about his vaccine distribution.
Chris, I love Booster Gold too. It just depends on how he's done. The first time I actually saw him on screen, I think was Justice League Unlimited. I thought they did a really good job with him there. And Trey, I don't know if Henry Cavill's coming back as Superman or not. I hope so. He's also trying to play every iconic character ever in pop culture and might actually succeed. Welcome into hour number 2 of the Upstate Pulse, affectionately used to be known as the third hour nerd hour. I will forever, ever lament, wish that it was today. No, I don't want that third hour today. I'm good. Two's enough for me today. But the third hour nerd hour still has a ring to me, and I will say it every once in a while in protest towards LexCorp and money. I had to ask the Facebook feed, because we are live during the commercial breaks, what the next big movie to come out. And Keith is saying he thinks it's Thor. It might actually be Thor. No, actually, you know what I think it is? It's Jurassic. Jurassic is out. Is it next week, I think? I'm looking forward to that too. I know there's, I love the cool part about the old cast and the new cast coming together. As long as Jeff Goldblum survives, everybody else can, that's fine. But Jeff Goldblum needs to survive because he's just too cool to get eaten by a dinosaur. All right, a lot of things going on. Let me first address, if you are just now tuning in and wondering why you only hear my voice, because it's only my voice. I just, Cameron is at home sick. Wish him well. Hopefully he will feel better tomorrow. And T2 requested a day off because it is his daughter's birthday. And I can't remember. I think she turned 4 today. If she didn't, she turned 3. It's 3 or 4, but I'm pretty sure it's 4. And so happy birthday to her, which is really cool. Our granddaughter's got a birthday coming up in a few weeks. Happy birthday, Silver. In this hour, we are going to do an oops. We got some signs of the impending apocalypse. Going to talk some video game stuff, especially some announcements that were made at Star Wars Celebration. And we are also going to break down AEW Double or Nothing, the big pay-per-view that's going on tomorrow night. And when I say big, I'm trying to decide if I want to buy it or not. We will see. Well, I'll tell you about that when we get to it. Also, Nerd Roundtable, Lightning Round, all that kind of stuff. But let us get to our oops this week.
Oops upside your head. Say oops upside your head. Say oops upside your head. Say oops upside your head.
Nobody can take that much and still live.
What's this? That's cray-cray.
Is everybody in this town on drugs? This is ridiculous.
All right, this is the point where we usually tell you someone got arrested for doing something really stupid. This is pretty stupid. This is beyond stupid. This is saying, hey, look at me. So let's go to Portland, shall we? Something I probably never will say except for right now on the radio. Let's go to Portland. I'm sure it's lovely, but I hear it's raining. A Portland woman who wrote the self-published essay, How to Murder Your Husband. I could just stop right there. I think you guys can figure out what happened. How to Murder Your Husband. Has been found guilty of, wait for it. Man, I should have had a drum roll ready, but, only have so many hands. Not a very good one, but that's what, that's what I'm going with. She's been found guilty has been found guilty of murdering her husband. Yes. A jury of 7 women and 5 men handed down a guilty verdict this week in a trial of 71-year-old Nancy Crampton Brophy. I'm hoping that's a hyphenated. It's not hyphenated in the story, because if your middle name's Crampton, It's probably not going to end well because who would name their kid? It's got to be a hyphenated. Who was charged with killing her 63-year-old husband, Chef Daniel Brophy. In June of 2018, Brophy showed no emotion as the verdict was read. The amateur author, who's been in custody since her husband's murder, is scheduled to be sentenced on June 13th. So yeah, a person who wrote an essay, pretty proud of the essay of how to murder your husband, actually murdered her husband. Now, we usually stay away from murder, but yeah. I'm guessing that her next book or next essay will be How to Escape Prison. That's just what she does. How to escape. Speaking of being accused of something, and this is going to show you how slow the courts work. More than 329 years after she was sentenced to death for practicing witchcraft, former Salem resident Elizabeth Johnson Jr. has been officially pardoned. So it took 329 years and they pardoned her. First of all, and you guys are probably smarter. All right, you guys are smarter than me. I didn't know women could be juniors. I thought that was only a dude thing. I mean, am I wrong? Have you heard of that before? I don't think there's a guy named Elizabeth. There could be, supposedly. Probably not in 1693, though. I mean, today, you can see that happening, but Elizabeth Johnson Jr. So Johnson's 1693 conviction was overturned Thursday by Massachusetts lawmakers. We will never be able to change what happened to victims like Elizabeth, but at the very least can set the record straight, says Senator Diana DiZoglio. Johnson was the last witch to be sentenced in the infamous Salem witch trials. Okay, so it's like they didn't have anything else to do. I'm sure there's probably some actual present day things that maybe they could have taken care of, but good for her. Although lawmakers never executed Johnson, it took more than 300 years for someone to attempt to clear her name. That someone was an 8th grade student who took up her cause after reading about her. So someone had to do something that I had to do, either in the 8th grade or 9th grade. I can't remember which one, which was to do, actually it might have been in high school. I think I had to do a 25-page term paper, and Salem Witch Trials was one of those things. And so I did that. But anyway, 300 years later, she is cleared of not being a witch. She's so happy about that, I'm sure, or her descendants are. They are celebrating at the coven, just saying. Possibly, maybe. All right. So this next story is not, it's not a sci-fi show. It's not. I don't know if you guys saw the report. There actually is a Sharkano. There really is a Sharkano. And this is creepy because NASA has taken video from space about the Sharkano. And no, the sharks are not like, when the volcano erupts, the sharks are not coming out and attacking people. That's a Sharknado. This is a Sharkano. The Sharkano is in 2015 scientific expedition to the Kavachi volcano, which is the name of that volcano, found 2 species of shark, including the scalloped hammerhead and the silky shark, living in the submerged crater. The researchers also found a 6-gill stingray, snapperfish, jellyfish, and microbial communities that thrive on sulfur. So these fish thrive on sulfur. So it's really hot there because of the volcano, and these fish can live in it. The presence of the sharks raised new questions about the ecology of the active submarine volcanoes and the extreme environments in which large marine animals can exist, the researchers wrote in a 2016 article. Okay, the reason why it's coming back up is because the thing's erupting, and they're seeing all these different species of fish, whatever, that have adapted to they can breathe sulfur. It's weird. It's real weird. He says hellfish. Yes, they can survive that, apparently. That's just really, really weird. All right. If you want to be a part of the show, text line 71307. Let's see. Texter writes, Trey says on the Facebook page, if you bought the book, could you get a refund since she got caught? No, it didn't say how to get away with it. It just said how to do it. And it was an essay. It wasn't, so she said, here's how I would do it, but she did it. She killed her husband. Let's see. Text line 71307. It took over 2 years to try that woman for murder. What happened to a fair and speedy trial? Well, at least she didn't have to wait 300 years like the witch did. There's that. There is that. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little signs of the impending apocalypse, and we're going to talk some video games. We're going to talk some AEW. We're also going to talk Willow. I want to talk Willow. I don't know if you guys saw Willow. Maybe some of you haven't, but before there was Game of Thrones, before there was Lord of the Rings, as far as the movies goes, there was Willow. And it's still one of my favorite movies of all time. And the trailer's out. It looks really, really cool. You listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD, continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse Facebook pages, and on the Upstate Pulse YouTube and Twitter page.
Around 5 miles per hour. High temperatures reach up to 87 tomorrow. Mainly sunny skies and fall. Mainly clear again tomorrow night, 66.
All right, Texter says, what happened to Alonzo's real daddy? I don't get that. I don't understand what that is. What's that even about? We met our real dad once, but thanks for bringing that up, Texter. As if I didn't have to do all. Now I got to deal with that weight on my back. Thanks. Mean.
Are you thinking about refinancing your home to get cash out for a renovation or to pay off debt? Save money with a cash out refinance from Cap Center.
We just helped a client who's a professional chef finance his dream kitchen. By avoiding typical closing costs, he had even more money for his vision.
Cap your closing costs. Visit capcenter.com. Equal housing lender. Visit capcenter.com for rates, savings, and offer limitations. NMLS ID 67717. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
There it is. Again, the poster. If you would like to vote, please vote. Or even if you don't want to vote, vote anyway. Vote now. Whoever texted me, at least it's a local number, so I know it's no one from Ohio. I don't know if that would. Thank you for your vote, Keith. I knew you were going to do that. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you. But now everything has been voted for. Thank you for your vote, Philip. I will point out that there are crows for me in every picture because there was that one time that I was here doing the show and my car was surrounded by like 50 birds. Still don't know why. Especially when some people say birds aren't real. I don't know how they could be out of there, but still. That's when I heard murder of crows, and I can't get that out of my head. Murder of crows. That's why in picture number 2, I'm a necromancer raising crows out of the ground, which is so really cool. Obviously, Philip, that That disturbed me. It really did. Because I still don't know why that happened. And maybe there is no reason why. It may just be coincidence. I don't know, but it was weird. I think it might have been a year ago.
My only friend, the end. Game over.
All right, there is our theme for Signs of the Impending Apocalypse. A segment that the late great Russ Castle came up with. I was his producer for 14 years, and he used to talk about signs of the impending apocalypse, and I wanted to make sure that that continued because there are signs of the impending apocalypse everywhere. This is weird, though. This is, and I don't know what to make of this. NASA says something strange is happening with our universe and how quickly it's expanding. Did you know the universe was expanding? You know, there are some haughty intellectuals out there who probably knew that, but I did not know that the universe is expanding. Or maybe I did, but my brain is not expanding. It's going the opposite direction. It's like imploding possibly. Scientists have been studying new data from the Hubble Space Telescope. They say the expansion rate has become much quicker than predicted. Data also showed other galaxies are moving away from our Milky Way faster. So what do the other galaxies know? Do the other galaxies know that something's going? Are we expanding to the point where we need more room, or are we expanding to the point of exploding? I don't know. Scientists can't figure out why. So all they're saying for now is that something weird is underway. Okay. All right. Okay. Something weird is underway. Text line 71307. My cousin is a goofball, just like me. There was a time when he and I in the same room. It was very entertaining. Kind of in the same room right now. Also, one of those family members, just like friends that you grow up with, where you don't see that person in forever. You end up in the room with them, and it's like you saw them yesterday. So those are the kind of friends and family that you need, the kind that you can be that way. You can be that way. Texter writes, and I don't get this, but I'm going to read it anyway. What happened to Lonzo's real daddy? I don't know. He's dead. That's what happened. All right. The next texter writes, Willow Ufgood, out of the way, Peck. Which finger has the power? That's Paul, 54 in Greenville. About to be 54 in a couple months myself, Paul. Yeah. I mean, Billy Barty as the High Aldwin, Willow Ufgood, Fun Car, and Matt Mardigan. I will tell you, Willow was such a good movie. The only bad part about Willow was the dragon was horrible. It was really bad. And we hadn't really seen a good dragon on screen ever, and we still didn't after that movie was over. The movie itself, Willow, was a movie that was highly anticipated because it was Ron Howard and George Lucas, and everyone was expecting something. Yeah, John Burklecut. You're troll dung, Burklecut. It's also a movie that I just remember a ton of lines from, and so do you guys, which is really cool. There were also Joanne Whalley, I guess, married Val Kilmer right after the movie or soon after. They got divorced, but they were together for a while. The new trailer has just dropped during Star Wars Celebration. I don't know why it dropped during Star Wars Celebration. I guess because it's made by the same company. But Warwick Davis, the guy who plays Willow, has said that Val Kilmer will be a part of the series. Because of COVID and because of the cancer that he went through that cost him his voice, he could not be on location with them, but he's going to show up, and they're making it sound like there might be multiple seasons. If you haven't checked out the trailer, check it out. Rats. The brownies. Oh, you're crawling with brownies. There are so many lines from that movie, but why couldn't they get the dragon right? And Finn Rizal versus suddenly I forget her name. I'm looking forward to the show. When they announced it, it was awesome. But the one thing it looks like they're not going to do is something we've discussed before. There was a set of books by Chris Claremont, who I believe, and Keith could probably confirm this, was an original X-Men writer. And he put together 3 books about Elora Danan, which were wicked. Nothing like the movie. They use the same characters, but so much so. Have you ever read a book that's just outside your vocabulary? I mean, just like almost like you're reading one level above where you should. And even as an adult, there's a level above. Keith says that Claremont did the Dark Phoenix saga. Not surprising with these books. So if you get a chance, look up the Chris Claremont books about Willow. And in those books, Willow is shunned by all of the Nelwyns because he ends up helping a demon. A demon has a child, and he puts the demon child in the body of a human. And so now he's shunned by everybody. And Elora Danan, and the thing is wicked. And I know they're not going to do this because in the book, I know I'm spoiling, but these books have been out for like 30 years probably. Matt Mardigan dies like in the very first part because they throw like a mountain on him. It's the way to go. I mean, if you're going to go, might as well get crushed by an entire mountain. It's it's rough. Yeah, it is because he sold encyclopedias. You're right, Keith. It was the books were really, really good. And but I hate when I have to look words up to read a book, and I had to on this. Not too bad, but if you get a chance to check it out, you should check it out. It's very, very good. Let's see. John says, funny thing, it never had the traction of Tolkien's books. Of course not. I mean, but any fantasy books out there are always going to be compared. And I guess, are they still compared? Are books still compared to Lord of the Rings, to Hobbit, to Silmarillion, all those books that Tolkien wrote? Are they still? Because he's like the father of fantasy. So I suppose that they are still compared to that. These books are really, really good though, especially if you're smart. Don't not read them because I'm telling you, because I'm not smart enough to read them, but I was smart enough to read them. I'm just kidding. They were really, really good books. I really, really enjoyed the books. All right, let us talk a little bit of video games. I'm not going to put the intro in there because I don't want to. It's my show, so there's that. Someone I know recently got something and had a computer built with a joystick that has access to a ton of ROMs. So ROMs, from what I understand, were the things that drove arcade cabinets. Back in the 80s, spent a lot of time at Eastland Mall, which I guess no longer exists, and at Putt Putt, which I don't know if it still exists or not, playing arcade games. My favorite game was Gorf. We've talked about it when we've had our video game segments. And this person just happened to find Gorf. And it's as hard as I remember. And I asked him, was like, did you try playing it? He's like, yeah, I couldn't get anywhere. So I spent a couple hours playing the other day. So it doesn't have the actual stand-up cabinet to put it in, which I wish he did, because that would be really cool. And I know there are some listeners out there who actually have stand-up cabinets of arcade games with either emulators or ROMs in them, which is probably the same thing, where you can actually stand up and get the stand-up experience of playing these games. This game, Gorf, and I've explained it a bunch of times about how it would talk stuff to you when you walk by. It would talk stuff every time, to the point where I had to play it. I had to play it because I was going to show that alien. I was going to give him what for? Well, a couple hours the other night, one thing that I had forgotten is that if you shoot a missile in this game and then you shoot another one, it cancels out the first one. So you have to let the missile go all the way through, which makes it a much more difficult game. But it's a combination of Space Invaders, Galaga, Xeno, I forget. It's not Xenoverse. It's Xeno. So there used to be a game which had like a dial to it where you could shoot. That's on there too. He has that also. And then there's a mothership that goes across, and you have to chip away at it to hit its core in order to blow it up. And then when you do, it starts all over again. And when it starts all over again, then you're no longer a space cadet, you're a space captain. And then he starts talking stuff about space captain. Where I was, my daughter walked in and was like, that voice is annoying. How can you handle that voice? It's like, that's the whole point. You'd walk by this cabinet, and I don't know how they did this. It would just light up and he would start talking. And it's, I don't know if it's sensors or if it was timed out to do that. So have you went back and played any ROMs? If you had access to them, what is the game that you would go back and play if you could? Also looked up a couple other games they had on there. They had all of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade games. You know, the ones where 4 or 5 people you play as all turtles and like Casey Jones, and you can stand up with 4 or 5 other people and play, and it's a side scroller fighting game. They have all those, which is, it's awesome. It really is awesome. This particular thing also had some older games, like some Sega Genesis games, including the game that I've talked about many times on this program over the last 7 years. And that would be Maximum Carnage, which when I moved to South Carolina, I traded in, and then come to find out later on that the game that I traded in was worth a lot of money, which still makes me mad because it was a red cartridge. Maximum Carnage, you would play the entire time, and when you got, and you couldn't save it. So I would like leave my Sega Genesis on overnight to come back to it. And then at the end of the game, the credits roll, Carnage comes out of the water and kills you. And then you have to play it all over again. Philip says, I always liked the Marvel versus Capcom games. Those are in there. Yeah, me too. There's a couple, I think one of the, on PlayStation 1 that I played a bunch, which was a port. So it wasn't as good as a stand-up arcade, but this has me really thinking about, and I don't really have room for it, but I kind of want it anyway. I kind of want a stand-up arcade. And I don't want to be, back in my day, we played our games in an arcade and we stood up and we put quarters or tokens in and we loved it. Because, you know, we did kind of love it. I mean, the best thing to do was to put your token in and play for an hour and have people, I used to have people gathered around me while I was playing 1942, which was just so cool to have everybody around you just watching you play. All right. Couple other things as far as video games goes. I want to let you know I still haven't beat Elden Ring yet. I'm getting close. I'm right back to where I was my first playthrough when I decided, you know what, I can't do this with this guy. I'm going to have to start over. I'm right back there. I've done a bunch of extra stuff. I think I'm ready. I may not be, but I don't want help. I want to do it on my own. And yes, Cameron has already beat it twice. And that's fine. These Dark Souls games are very difficult. They're the hardest games out there. And people rage quit all the time. I'm going to beat this game without help. Speaking of a game that I beat without help, that was the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I couldn't get past it. I was ridiculed and shamed by Cameron and T2. Went back and beat it. Well, now at Star Wars Celebration, they have put out the trailer for the next one, only available on next gen. I knew this was coming eventually. They have to eventually start bringing out games that are only available on next gen. And when they do that, then that's a reason to get next gen. I already have that. Didn't ask for it, but I got it. And I'm pretty happy that I got it. All right. A texter writes, why UFO don't appears daytime so often and it has lights, how it knows when Earth needs lights. I think artificial intelligence actually did that. No, actually, I see the area code. A UFO uses the lights to communicate, so it will use them at all points of the day and night. I mean, that's why UFO does that. So anyway, I'm looking forward to Jedi Survivor. If you haven't had a chance, check out the trailer for that. All right, I'm gonna take a break. We come back and hit the Nerd Roundtable. I'm gonna ask some questions to you guys, since nobody else is in the room, and see what you have to say. Listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD, continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse face pages and on the Upstate Pulse YouTube and Twitter page and Twitch. All right. 24 more minutes.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Lucchese from the 106.3 WORD Weather Center. Currently, it's 80 degrees.
Few of us remember. Some of us remember. Most of us remember.
And by the way, for anyone watching thinking, get a haircut, hippie. I've been thinking about getting a haircut. I don't know how much. And for the people who are going to suggest a buzz cut or a flock of seagulls haircut, well, I've considered flock of seagulls, but I'm not going to get my haircut that short. Why? Because I don't have to. Because I don't want to. And having long hair is a family tradition, trust me. And some of the family wishes they still had hair so they could have long hair. Cousin Keith, who drew the posters and is on the Facebook page right now, he and I, we don't have that problem. We have beautiful heads of hair. Oh man, I gotta also do that. Do. All right, so I'm also going to throw some wrestling into the Nerd Roundtable because there's a big pay-per-view tomorrow. Cannot compete with the people who would normally be here because they're not here. Losers.
Save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com with promo code NEWS. Want to quickly become Dad's favorite? Getting what he really wants for Father's Day. The Upstate Golf Cart. 18 holes at 10 of the best courses in the Upstate. The Preserve Every Day, Willow Creek, Legacy Farms, Flood Brookstone, The Rock, Carolina Springs, just to name a few. And best of all, now through Father's Day, the Upstate Golf Cart is on sale for just $75. Yep, $75 for the best golf in the Upstate. Give your dad one today at UpstateGolfCart.com. That's UpstateGolfCart.com.
Why are you missing fancy? We know about reality. Don't ruin the fancy, okay?
The Upstate Pulse presents the Nerd Roundtable.
Allow me to elaborate.
Because the guys from your high school debate team need to lay the smackdown.
Are you familiar with the Drake equation? The one that estimates the odds of making contact with extraterrestrials by calculating the product of increasingly restricted series of fractional values, such as those stars of planets, and those planets likely to develop life. N equals R times FB times NE times FL times FI times FC times L.
You might want to get out some tape recorder, because it's going to be historical.
All right, for those of you watching at home, yes, I'm hazy and out of focus. It's not my fault. It's late in the evening, you know. It gets that way sometimes. Trey asked, do you remember the movie The Beastmaster? That was out about the same time Willow was. Yes, Kodo and Podo. Definitely remember The Beastmaster. The dialogue wasn't the greatest, but it was kind of cool. It really was. I think Kodo and Podo were actually ferrets, I believe. Could be wrong. Pretty sure they were ferrets. All right. In the roundtable, I have a question. All right. So when something becomes public domain, is it okay to turn it into a horror film? So if it's a beloved cartoon, something that people have loved their entire life, some people have named their kids after characters from the show, is it okay to turn it into something scary? Now we've seen some movies, including the Nick Cage movie where he is working at a place kind of like Chuck E. Cheese, and all the things come to life and try to kill people, including him, and he doesn't say a word in the entire movie. That was excellent, and a lot of kids are creeped out by that sort of thing. But here's something I don't think anyone's ever been afraid of. It's Winnie the Pooh. Have you ever been afraid of Winnie the Pooh? Did you ever think, man, if they turn Winnie the Pooh into a horror film, that would just be amazing? No, it would not. But they're making Winnie the Pooh into a horror film. The name of the movie is, let's see, where is it? The same people who made it also did the movie The Curse of Humpty Dumpty and The Legend of Jack and Jill. What is the name of the? Oh yeah, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Doesn't that sound good? Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Why would you make a movie out of Winnie the Pooh? The film is being made by London-based Jagged Edge Productions, which also made The Curse of Humpty Dumpty and The Legend of Jack and Jill. So it seems they've got a form for putting a bloody take on childhood stories. But how are they able to make a Winnie the Pooh movie? Winnie the Pooh is almost synonymous with Disney at this point, after the studio turned A.A. Milne's classic children's book into a collection of movies and the recent Christopher Robin film. Until now, Disney had the exclusive rights to the character, but Milne's work entered the public domain earlier this year, meaning that anyone can now adapt those classic characters as they see fit. We just weren't expecting it to be quite so dark quite so quickly. There is I have this shared on the Upstate Pulse Facebook page, so you can check that out. And on it, you can see not only Pooh, but Piglet. And would you watch this? Would you watch this? Will you watch Winnie the Pooh horror movie? Because I got to tell you, I absolutely will watch this. And Jay is on there saying, you mean like the Banana Splits? I never saw that yet. I keep forgetting to watch that. And I loved the Banana Splits when I was a kid, especially when we went to Kings Island, because I'm from Ohio. Back in the day, Banana Splits were live at Kings Island, and you could go watch their show there. And I would love to go see them, but I know that movie's out there, and I still haven't watched it yet. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. I'm sure that's good and a good wholesome family film. Why not? Let's watch the Banana Splits. So Winnie the Pooh, the horror film. Yes, I will watch. You know why I'm going to watch it? Because I think the listeners deserve to have a review of this fine film. Might be Academy Award winning. Who knows? Philip says, I probably would just because it's intriguing. You know, it could be so bad that it's good. Let's see. Texter writes, I worked in a movie theater in high school. Do you remember Tron? Yes. How could you not? I mean, when Tron came out, especially as someone who spent a lot of time in the arcades, actually going inside the game, and the sequel was really, really good too, without a doubt. All right, so let me go over AEW Double or Nothing really quick before we get to lightning round. All right, Hookhausen versus Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling. Hookhausen, the team you never thought you needed, and now they're together. Hook, the handsome devil, and Danhausen, the guy who puts curses on people. I'm going with Hookhausen to win that. Darby Allin versus Kyle O'Reilly. Someone's going to get hurt because Darby Allin is just stupid. Darby Allin, by the way, who's been here locally, he was a guest, I think, 2 years ago at South Carolina Comic-Con, which is pretty cool. We'll see Frankie Kazarian, Sammy Guevara. Tay Conti versus the Minute of the Year and Paige Van Zandt. We know Paige Van Zandt's promos aren't very good. Can she wrestle? She was an okay fighter. She was more famous because she was pretty, but she lost a lot. That's why she's not in the UFC anymore. House of Black versus Death Triangle. The opportunity to be the show stealer right there. I'm going to go with House of Black to win this, although it's going to be an amazing fight. And hopefully Death Triangle comes out of the match actually healthy, because they don't ever seem to do that. All right. Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho in the women's Owen Hart tourney finals. Last night we saw Ruby do some little underhanded things. Could be turning heel. I don't know. Ruby versus Britt Baker. I'm going to go Ruby as the winner of the inaugural women's Owen Hart tournament. Samoa Joe versus Adam Cole. Looking forward to this match. Samoa Joe, when he stays healthy, is an awesome wrestler. Also very good on the mic. And so is Adam Cole. Plus, Adam Cole is a big-time gamer and a nerd. I've started watching him play some games like Elden Ring, and just his reactions are priceless. Wardlow versus MJF. Wardlow finally gets his hands on MJF. Look for MJF to do something underhanded, because that's what he does. He's better than you, and you know it. But Wardlow wins, beats MJF, and gets his contract so he can become a regular wrestler for AEW. All right, the Hardys versus Young Bucks. 10 years ago, this would have been an amazing match. Now it's going to be, Jeff, please don't kill yourself, because Jeff is he's gotten worse. You didn't think he could get any worse, but Jeff Hardy is now doing things that there's no way he's going to recover from. And he said this is his last run. Hopefully he didn't mean that literally, but it's going to be a good match. All right, the Jericho Appreciation Society versus the Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Kingston, Santina, and Ortiz. I am rooting for Jericho in this match. I think they're going to win, and Eddie Kingston needs to go home because he's no good on the mic. He's no good in the ring. His beer belly is like the hugest thing I've ever seen, and it just it cannot be contained. No matter how tight the shirt, the thing just comes out, and it's like gelatinous, and it should not happen. Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay. This match shouldn't happen. Jade Cargill is going to win. Jurassic Express versus Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs versus Keith Lee, bask in his glory, and Swerve Strickland for the AEW Tag Team Championship. Look for Keith Lee and Swerve to win this. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb, not good on the mic. Thunder Rosa hasn't really wrestled since she won the title. Not really a whole lot. She's going to win this. Hangman Adam Page versus CM Punk. CM Punk, please go home. Please just go home. Okay. You're old. You're not good on the mic. You had your butt handed to you every time by just about when you lose a promo off to Hangman Adam Page, it's time to go home. Will they put the belt on CM Punk? I hope not. So I can't root for that. I'm going to go with Hangman Adam Page. I don't know why I keep calling him Alan Page. Maybe that's his brother. All right. We are going to take our final break, come back with the lightning round. You're listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD. Continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse Facebook pages and on the Upstate Pulse YouTube and Twitch page. Why is that thing out of focus? It's so weird.
61 tonight under clear skies, northeast winds around 5 miles per hour. High temperatures reach up to 87 tomorrow. Mainly sunny skies and calm.
It's not because the computer's bad. It's a brand new computer, so I don't know. I don't know. Focus on my shirt. Focus. I have nothing to work, but I'm trying.
The Upstate's 24/7 severe weather station.
Are you thinking
All right, none of that worked. I thought it would work.
to get cash out for college, renovation,
It is weird that it just suddenly went out of focus. I don't know why. But it ain't like I don't have anything else to do, you know?
Refinance has been a win-win-win for him. We were able to get his rate down, using the cash for something he's passionate about, and the money is actually going back into his.
Okay, so what I think it's doing is it was trying to focus on whatever's out the window. It could be aliens. It's probably more than likely, Keith, it's artificial intelligence because AI knows that I am its enemy. I'm not talking because I'm doing math.
It's time we demand more for mental health. Join the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and Odyssey's I'm Listening and demand #more for mental health. Get involved. Save lives. Visit moreformentalhealth.org today.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
So, and I love this argument. Well, Biden won't protect our border, and yet he wants.
Yeah, I'm. I think I've had this problem before, and as Lisa pointed out, it could be glare, but I think no, actually, it went out of focus again. Is it because of the? This is the poster. The glare off the poster. No, it's not. All right, it could be glare off the poster. I don't know. Well, next week, that'll be T2's problem to fix. Wow. Wow. I've only had to do this one other time in my life, and it was not a happy time. So this experience was good, but it also lets me know that I need other people because I love being able to talk to other people. But I really appreciate everyone on the text line and on the Facebook page helping me out. You guys are awesome.
Lightning can only strike twice so many times.
All right, W has spoken. That means it is time for the lightning round where I try to squeeze as many things in as I possibly can before the end of the show. First of all, thank you to everyone listening. Thank you to everyone on Facebook. Thank you to everyone on YouTube, Twitch, everyone on the text line for helping me out on this day, the one day that I dreaded my entire radio career, and I have made it through. Was never nervous once. I thrive better on pressure, but I also appreciate what this show is. This show is about a bunch of guys or girls in a room just talking about video games, talking about movies, talking about streaming, talking about cool stuff that we just, those things that when you're online and it catches your eye and you immediately go to it and go, oh, what is that? And you just read an entire article and that leads you to another article. And that's what this show is. Originally, we were told we had to do it. And Chris and I got together and said, all right, what's the one thing they will not let us do? There's no way that they would let us do this. I drew up the whole thing, put it on the desk of LexCorp, and he said, okay, you're doing this show next week. And it's been on ever since. And there's only been a couple times when the show wasn't on due to holidays or due to do the Star Awards. So, and I appreciate, especially now, lately, we've always had a pretty good amount of people supporting the show, but lately on social media and on the text line, people really are stepping up, and I really do appreciate that. And I want to give some credit to Crossover with my buddy Rob Brown from our brother station, the Fan Upstate. He and I started doing that right away too. When he got here, he saw what we were doing on Saturdays and was like, you know what? I want to do that too over here. And can you help me? And yes, and we sat down and we were able to get that. So I am on Facebook Live and YouTube 6 days a week. Always talking during the commercials, things like that. So it's really cool. We do really appreciate the support. But as fun as this is, it's more fun when there are people in the room. And, you know, during COVID, it was just me and Cameron from at home, and it was a struggle sometimes. But I appreciate the fact that now we are allowed to have some people back in here, and we have had people in here, and we're going to have them back next week. All right, let's get to a couple things. The Conjuring house, the original house from the first movie that was haunted, is sold for $1.5 million. The 18th century home in Burrillville sold for $1.525 million on Thursday, far higher than the $1.2 million asking price. Would you live in a haunted house? Have you lived in a haunted house? Do you live in a haunted house presently? Or are you science-minded or non-supernatural and don't believe in ghosts, demons, or anything like that? I am not interested in living in a haunted house. And as the Cowardly Lion said, I do believe in ghosts. All right, there's a big story. The FBI, there was a big gold find, Civil War era gold that was buried, and it was supposed to be a lots of gold. And there are these guys that go out and they find it. Have you ever watched any of the gold things, like that One Island or something like that? They go out searching for gold. Well, they found some gold, and the FBI says there was no gold there, but there's no proof that there wasn't. There's just a hole left. Even though they did one of those surveys where they used radar or something to go down in the ground and they found it. So they're being sued right now by some people saying that they actually stole the gold. The FBI took the gold. Let's see. Trey says, Facebook Live is the reason I got hooked on this show and the Rob Brown show. The notification pops up and I'll tune in. Thank you, Trey. We appreciate that. Let's see. Keith says, and jumped, I have worked in a real haunted house, saw things I can't explain. Ooh, that's cool. We'll have you on around Halloween and you can talk about that. All right, Philip says, I believe it's just some kind of energy left behind. Could be. Could absolutely be that. That could be what it is. All right, the Thor Love and Thunder trailer, the latest one just came out, and I was a little skeptical, but I really like it. It looks really, really cool. I can't wait to see what they do. And does Thor retire, or does he remain a superhero when he's done? Taika Waititi has addressed that. You have to look it up to find out what he said. That was, homework. That's what I'm going to go with. Homework. And you know what? We have made it. Not like it was a struggle. We made it. It's a struggle for my voice. I won't be able to talk for a couple of days, but that's fine because I'm off Monday. So there's that. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And now I'm going to take about 25 minutes to clean everything up, including all the paper that I threw over the floor. Didn't mean to. I just kind of missed the basket. You are listening to the Upstate Pulse, brought to you by Borderlands Comics and Games. Next week, hopefully, we will have a full crew in here having fun like we always do on a Saturday night. You guys, if you have an extended weekend, have a good time. If not, we will see you back here next Saturday. See ya. All right. Thank you, everybody. As my voice goes, goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. As the God Pigeon would say,